Alright, Internet. So today I'm going to show you guys everything I know about Oscar, aka Asuka. Um, this is a really interesting character to me because generally most people look at her as like a newbie character or as an online scrub character where people will just pick her and do all the high crush stuff, low crush stuff, do unsafe stuff all day, and it works online because it's very hard to punish online with the lag, as well as dealing with strings like this or strings like this. These strings are so shitty offline, but online, because you have you don't have all of your defensive options at your disposal. At times it can be really hard to do something like, let's say, deal with 1-1, or 1-4, 4-3, or things like that. You can't do your fuzzy guards and you can't sidewalk too crisply, so it can be really hard to deal with that. But you will notice that even though this character is terrorizing people online, you very, very rarely see people succeed with her offline. So the interesting thing about this character basically is that everyone thinks she is a noob-friendly character or a very easy character, but in reality, offline, this is actually a very advanced character. I initially thought that she was really simple and easy, but that is actually not the case. After playing her a little bit more and realizing what you have to do to maximize damage with her, and as well as just simply play with her, it's really difficult. One of the main reasons is most characters in this game can open up their offense with a single jab. This character, however, does not have that kind of a jab. Her standing jab, even though it's 10 frames, it does not give plus on block like everyone else's 10 frame jab. And on top of that, you don't get plus on hit either. So you have to continue into these strings, 1-1-4 or 1-1 or 1-3 or 1-4. All these options are kind of a necessity when it comes to this character, because you can't open up offense. On top of that, this character also is very high risk. So if you're going to, take these risks, you have to be a relatively advanced player, because you can't just be throwing things like, back 3-4, out for no reason. And this is why I suspect people don't usually succeed with her offline while they can succeed with her online. Because online, this character, you don't really need balls to play her online, because it's not Brave doing something unsafe, like forward 2 or whatever. None of that stuff requires any balls online, because the opponent can't punish it. While offline, any of these decisions can result in you losing 50%. So that is another reason why I think this is an advanced character. And the final reason why I think this is an advanced character is that all of her most important highest damage conversion combos are really fucking hard to do. For example, her forward 4 is a high homing move that's plus on block, and it gives you a knockdown. Now, the easy combo off of this is forward 4, down back 4-3. That works all the time. If you have a character that you can tag in that can continue that combo, that is the combo you should do. However, there aren't very many characters that can do that. So, in order to convert off of this combo, you have to do a dash, 1+4, and then do that. That's actually a fairly difficult combo. Now, there are many more like that. Her 3+4 is a safe low crush move that does quite a bit of damage. The easy combo to do is forward 2 afterwards, like that. That is actually a combo if you do it fast enough, like that. However, the right thing to do is to do a dash 1+4, which is actually very hard to do. But it's the right thing to do. And if you do it, you're going to get, this is going to become a mid-ground hitting safe launcher that low crushes. So, this is basically what I'm saying. The character has some potential, but it's just advanced. It's very difficult to do these things. I want to do it one time so you guys can see it, but it's just really fucking hard. There we go. So after that, 2-on-1+2 works. So this is basically another one of those situations where you have a really difficult combo, but if you don't do it, you're losing out on a ton of damage. Another really important thing with her is full crouch down forward 2 on counter hit into crouch cancel down forward 2. Like that. That's another advanced combo. And she has a few more as well. For example, her Magic 4, converting off of that is another difficult combo. You have to do a perfect dash, and you have to nail the 1+4 at the right timing in order to convert this into an actual Magic 4 combo, which, you know, is another case. There are a few more that I'm forgetting, I'm sure, but this character, I would say, even though the common misconception is that she's a newbie character, that really is only the case online. Offline, this character is very advanced in my opinion. Her primary range is really interesting as well, because she is effective from about this range, because she has moves like forward 2 as well as forward 2 cancel while standing 1+2. She has forward 3 cancel. She has a lot of options. Forward 4. Forward 3 is a safe mid homing move that has really low hitbox. It'll hit side rollers at times. And there are just quite a few moves that she has that make her dangerous from this range. Now, the interesting thing is, from this range, she's basically like a whiff punishing machine. That's really the big playstyle you should think about when you're playing her, because she has solid whiff punishers, but when you get in close, her main game is like it's defensive in that she's going to use something up close to launch, basically. Her pokes are relatively weak. Her speed and offense is relatively weak. So generally, when you're in close with her, you're going to be thinking about use of moves like Can, which is a 14-frame counter-hit low launcher, which is safe. Sidestep left or right into 2. These are tools you're going to think about using. Back 3. This is also another very excellent tool you're going to think about using. She also has up forward 3 and up forward 4 for crush moves. Up forward 3 is safe, and it requires a counter hit to launch, like that. And up forward 4 is a high damage hop kick at 33 damage and 20 frames, but it does have good range, so that's something to consider. So basically, it's an interesting character overall. Basically, she functions really well as a whiff punishing style character. Her offense is relatively weak, but that does not hinder her from being effective up close, because of all of her crush moves. She has like an amazing arsenal of crush moves overall, and basically the thing that makes her kind of unique in this game, and the thing that you might find valuable with her, is that she has a ton of tag bufferable launchers. She has down back 4-3, that's tag bufferable. I'll show you, I guess. Let's just turn second hit guard off so I can show you all these. So she has that. She has Can. She has down back 2. She has while standing 3. She has forward 2. She has back 3. Like that. She has back 3, 4-3. Like that. I'm sure there are more. Oh yeah, she has a command 1+2 grab that you could tag cancel out of. She has, what am I forgetting? She just has a lot of tag bufferable moves in general. So that's one of the things that makes her unique. Another thing that makes her unique, and you might want to consider this when you're building a team for her, is her down forward 2 is a standard launcher, and it's safe. Now, off of her down forward 2, you can connect with down back 4-3 and bring in your tag partner. So you can get red life combos off of her standard generic down forward 2, which is actually really effective. You also have another option on tag buffering that down forward 2 with back 2 4-3. So that's another one that will work depending on who your partner is. Let me see. I think Dragunov can get that to work. Okay, so you can do stuff like that. I've found that characters like Lars is a really good partner for her. Dragunov is decent. Any character, I think Nina would be very good. Any character that does very good solo damage would be effective. But yeah, she's a pretty solid character. I don't think she works that well with every character in the game, but generally speaking, because of her ability to tag out of her launchers, even ones that are not tag bufferable, like for example down forward 2, it makes her kind of unique for building a team around dealing red life damage and things of that sort. So getting started with her punishment. Her punishment used to be really putrid. In Tekken 6, her punishment was absolutely terrible. One of the worst punishing characters in the game. But in this game, she's improved a little bit. So let's start with 10 frames. Her standing 10 frame punish is still the worst in the game. Her standing 1 is the only move she has that's 10 frames. Your only option afterwards is to mix up. So your options are 1-1, which is mid-mid, not a natural combo. 1-3, which is also not a natural combo, but it's mid-low, high-low. Sorry, this is high-mid, and this is high-low. You also have 1-4, that's high-low as well. None of these are natural combos. And then you have 1-2, which also goes into 1-2-4. I will mention 1-2-4, not as a punisher, but because it is a counter hit combo. That's really important to remember. So if the first hit counter hits, 2-4 is guaranteed. And you can also hit confirm it. So you can do 1-2. If the 1 counter hit, you can hit the 4, and you should be safe. However, I should note that the third hit of this is -14. So you have to be careful when you don't counter hit confirm it. Also, you can do 1-2-3 and then cancel. That's, you know, it's for... The use of her strings overall in general is basically just a little bit gimmicky, but I do recommend the use of her strings because you never know when your opponent doesn't know how to deal with these things. And though I do think they're gimmicky, the answers to some of her strings are not cut and dry. Like, it's not something like, for example, 1+4, 2, this string, if you down jab after the first hit, you'll never lose. If the first hit hits, it's a low, but after that, if you down jab, you'll always beat this string, no matter what. She'll never be able to mix you up with the mid. She'll never be able to mix you up with the low. So that's an example of knowing how to beat the strings. But there are some strings, like let's say 1-2-4 versus 1-2-3, and then into the spin and cancel, where the answer to beating the string is not so cut and dry as doing a down 1. So, you know, I'll talk about most of the moves in general, but let's just stick with punishment for now. So for 10 frames, basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit with the jab and mix up between 1-3 or 1-1. This is absolutely shitty. I really, really don't like doing it. You're not going to yield much damage off of it ever, but it's not, you know, you don't have a choice. It's all she's got. Now moving on, 12 frames is where she, actually I should talk about her 11 frame. Her 11 frame is her standing kick, her standing right kick, so standing 4. This is the only option she has for 11 frames, but it is better than a standing jab. So when you do block a -11 move, this is what you should be thinking about doing. And I did mention that her magic 4, it's not in the context of punishment, but her magic 4 does combo, but you have to do a quick dash into 1+4, and it's very difficult. It's an advanced combo. So this is one of the things I mentioned earlier. She's just that type of character. Misconception. People think that she's a noob character, but honestly, I really don't agree with that. Let's see. Moving on with punishers. Oh, yes. Okay, so her 11 frame is her standing 4. For 12 frames, she has 2-3. 2-3 is really good because it will now reach mid get-up kicks at the wall and wall splat. So if you knock your opponent down and the wall is to their back and they decide to do a mid get-up kick, you can punish it with 2-3, land the wall splat. Otherwise, if you block hop kicks or anything of that sort, 2-3 will be guaranteed, landing you a knockdown with 39 damage, which is actually pretty high for a 12-frame punish. So, she did get a huge buff here in this context. So, that's something to remember. You also have the option to do 2-1 or 2-on-1+2 or 2-on-1+2 down. Is it down? It's back. Shows how much I use it. 2-on-1+2 back will give you 25 points damage, and the mix-up afterwards of whether or not you will complete this string. And then, of course, if you cancel it, you can do whatever you want afterwards for a mix-up, depending on how much they hesitated. Now, I would always go with 2-3 because 2-1 is not generally going to yield you too much damage, but if you're one of those creative kinds of players, you might be able to take advantage of that. Let's see, moving on. 13 frames, she doesn't have anything. 14 frames, she has up forward 2. This is another buff she's gotten for punishment. In previous games, she did not have a 14 frame knockdown, but in this game, she does. Hey, I just noticed AZYG4 Life just subscribed. Thanks, amigo. Thanks for distracting me. Anyway, thanks for subscribing, man. Where the hell was I? 14 frames. Up forward 2 is definitely something that is a good buff. Because now, not only does she have a move that gives you a knockdown with good damage, 47, good Okazemi as well, because it shifts into a attack throw. Let me make her quick stand off the ground. Oops. I wanted to test if a down jab will beat a quick rise, but it doesn't seem like it will. I'll get into throw Okazemi after, excuse me, after punishment. But yeah, for 14 frames, this is actually very effective. It's safe on block. And also, you can do it from crouch. So let's say you block a low that in which the opponent does not recover in crouch, which is kind of common. If you block a low, you have access to up forward 2 as a low block punish, depending on the move you blocked. So this isn't half bad if you think about it. For 14 frames, not too shabby. Access from crouch. I think that it's actually something that is overlooked with her. She's got a really solid 14 frame punish in the grand scheme of things. It's not a launcher, but at least it's a knockdown with good damage and good Okazemi because, you know, it's an attack throw. Other options for 14 frames are 3-1, which I don't generally like. It's 39 damage, less damage, and no knockdown. So I would just recommend, you know, going with up forward 2. Let me get some water. All right. So we talked about 14 frame punishes. Now, for 15 frame punishes, she has down forward 2. This is going to be her main one. Her down forward 2 is really good, actually. It is safe on block. Give me a moment. I gotta turn the fan on. It's fucking hot in here. It's safe on block, and it does not launch crouching opponents. So that's something that you have to remember. It only launches standing opponents. So it is relatively abusable. It's pretty good for keep out. It also does have some phantom high crush frames. It will happen on occasion, but rarely. You can't count on it. It's pretty decent overall. Other options for 15 frames are back 4. It's not very good. But the other one that you have to remember that is very important is forward 1 plus 2. Because there are times when down forward 2 will not reach, and forward 1 plus 2 will reach. And forward 1 plus 2 is good damage, not quite a launcher, but if they don't tech roll, you do get, if they don't quick back roll, you do get a follow-up. I think forward 2 is guaranteed. So, you know, it's something to keep in mind. Also, wall splat will happen, so just keep that in mind. If your down forward 2 will not reach, forward 1 plus 2 is another option at 15 frames. After 15 frames, it's not usually talked about in terms of punishers, but I will mention that for 16 frames, she has 1 plus 2, which I'll talk about more later, and she has back 3, which again, I'll talk about more later. For 17 frames, she has forward 2. I'll talk about this again more later. I just want to cover them in punishers just in case you need them. For 19 frames, she has forward 4. And for 20 frames, she has up forward 4 as well as up forward 3. But generally, as a punisher, you would want to use up forward 4 over 3 because it's a launcher on regular hit. So that's her standing punishment, which has improved, as I mentioned, since Tekken 6. Now for her while standing punishment. For while standing, she has 4 at 11 frames, while standing 4. Nothing special about it, though it is important to note when you block a slide or something like that, her while standing 4 is good enough to do something like while standing 4, 2-1, 2-1, 1 plus 2, and that way you can punish things like Law's slide or anything that you block that's low, which ends the opponent on the ground, like, you know, whatever, like something out of relax or whatever, and you're in crouch, you can use that to float, which is definitely something that not every character has, and it's worth mentioning. So anyway, while standing 4 for 11 frames. For 12 frames from crouch, she has nothing. For 13, she has nothing. For 14, she has while standing 2-1. It's not terrible. 37 damage. Plus frames on it are not that impressive. I can double check for you just because I think it's important to know. Just give me one moment. Here it is. Oh, it doesn't have 2-1 listed. It only has while standing 2. But while standing 2 is actually +8 on hit. So you're going to get +8, which is actually quite a bit. That means that they cannot jump out of a throw. So while standing 2 into a throw, they cannot jump out of it. They have to duck. Which is pretty good. Not too bad. But again, keep in mind that I did mention, though you do have while standing 2 as a 14 frame punish from crouch, up forward 2 is also 14 frames, and you get more damage into, you know, a throw Okizeme knockdown, which is really good. So, you know, keep those two things in mind. For 15 frames from crouch, she has while standing 1-4. This is a natural combo. However, the second hit is high, and this string does not jail, so they can duck the second hit on block. So that's something you should remember. This is only generally good for punishment, or if you land with full crouch down forward 2 with the opponent's back to the wall. It's generally better to do while standing 1-4 into a wall splat, as opposed to in open ground, which the best thing to do, in my opinion at least, is crouch cancel down forward 2. The wall splat will change what combo you do off of that. But other than that, I would generally say while standing 1-4 is not something you should be using too often because of the risk of the second hit being crouched. And then from crouch, the last option you have basically is while standing 3, and that's at 19 frames. So basically you don't need to do a hop kick out of crouch until 20 frames, but for 19 frames you have while standing 3, and while standing 3 is also tag bufferable. So not too bad. It's a little bit slow. You're not going to be able to punish too many things. Not a lot of lows are -19, but it does happen on occasion. And there are other uses for while standing 3 as well. So it's not like a totally useless move. It's just that as a while standing punisher, it's a little bit slow to use on just a match by match, every match basis. But it's something that you should remember. So that's basically her punishment overall. I did talk a little bit about other moves, but I think they correlate to some extent to her punishment game. So the next thing that I want to talk about, generally this is the order in which I like to learn a character, so this is how I'm doing the tutorial. So the next thing I like to think about after I learn the punishers is throws and throw Okizeme, because they are also very important, and it's a generic classification in this. Basically, all characters have throws. Some characters have strong throws, some have weak. So the next thing I want to learn when I learn a character is that. Her standing 1 throw is actually very good. Her throws in general are really good. She's just got really, really above average throw strength. So, let's see. Her 1 throw is relatively solid. It leaves you at this angular Okizeme situation. What I like to do for wake-ups is, if you want to beat quick rise, you could do a down jab. Let me set it to quick rise here. So if your opponent decides to quick rise after this throw, a down jab will float, and at that point, you can crouch cancel the down jab. You have to do it very quick. And then boom. So you get a Okizeme situation off of that if you do a down jab very quick, and then crouch cancel the down jab into back 4-2, and then you continue the combo. Now, if they that will also beat a back roll. So let me show you guys that. So off of a 1 throw, a down jab, if done correctly, will beat a back. Oh, it doesn't do it fast enough. I gotta do second hit guard all to manipulate the AI into back rolling fast enough. So that's gonna beat a back roll as well. If you time the crouch cancel correctly, it should work every time. And let's see. That'll beat a back roll. That'll beat a quick stand. That'll also beat get up kicks as well, because of the down jab. It'll counter hit them. If they don't do get up kick, you can do. I'm sorry. If they don't do a quick rise or a back roll and decide, let's say, to side roll, you can do a 1 grab, and then you can do your down jab, and then you could do something like while standing 3, and if they stayed on the ground waiting for you to do something, while standing 3 will hit on the ground. So that's a good option. Now, if you want to do something safer, you can always go with down back 3, but again, you have to keep in mind that it does not catch side roll to the right. So in my opinion, the best option is after the 1 throw, you should do a down jab to catch the quick rise and the back roll. But if they don't do the down jab, if they don't do that and the down jab whiffs, you should consider doing something, depending on what direction they go, you should consider doing something like full crouch down forward 2, which will hit them on the ground, while standing 3, which will hit them on the ground, or something like down jab, crouch cancel, and then sweep. And I'll get into the sweep a little bit later, which is 3 a tilde 4. But that's generally what I do for Okizeme off of a 1 grab. Let's see. For her 2 grab, this is also a really good throw. You're left in face down head towards Okizeme against the opponent, and if they do a quick rise, you will get a down forward 1, which will float like that. And if they don't do a quick rise, of course, you could do a lot of options. I think if they do, if they play dead after this, you can probably land a forward 2. At this point, oh, it doesn't even hit on the ground. That might be because Asuka is a small character, small character size. So that might be why it's not hitting at that angle. But regardless, basically, it's a matter of will they or will they not get up. If they're going to get up, that's going to pick up. If they're not going to get up, you have options. 3+4, sweep, whatever you want. That's usually how I look at her throw Okizeme situations. For command throws, she has a couple that are worth mentioning. First of all, her down forward 2+3 is a command throw that does 40 damage. For wake ups, you can use forward 2 to chase them down for a back roll catch. Like that. That will always catch a back roll if you chase them down. You can also use... what was the thing I was using before? Damn, I totally forgot what I was doing. Oh, I think it was forward 2. Yeah, I remember now. So, if you do forward 2 right away, I think it will launch a back turn quick rising opponent. So, let's see. Yeah, if you do that fast enough, it'll launch a quick rise. And, that will be pretty good, but it's a little risky. There you go. So you got to do it right after. It'll beat a quick rising opponent. If they back roll, dash up and chase them down with that. And if they stay on the ground, of course, dash up and, you know, your standard ground hitting tools. That's basically how that throw functions. It's not the best Okizeme, but it does do 5 points extra damage over her generic throws, so it's decent. Her other command throw is back 1+2. Again, you can chase them down if they back roll with forward 2. I'll show you that again. Oops, I did back 2 for some reason. There we go. So you have that option. It's a decent throw as well because it's a 1+2 break. I didn't mention down forward 2+3 I think is a 2 break. And back 1+2 is a 1+2 break. She also has her falling rain throw, which is done by the same command as Chains of Misery, which is full crouch, down forward, 1+2. Generally speaking, I find that one good tactic to mix this up is to duck, do down forward, and then do a standard throw. This will often make the opponent think that you're doing a 1+2, and they will not even bother looking at the hands because they've already gotten the read on this little shimmy that you do. And then once you do a standard throw, you know, it's going to be more difficult to break because you represented the falling rain throw with the little shimmy and crouch. This throw is also unique because you can tag buffer it. So you can do an inbound combo with your partner. Let's see if I could do a combo. Oh, that's backwards? I didn't even know that. Wonder what the right combo is with this team. I know a really high damage combo without tag buffering, but I don't know one with tag buffering. But obviously you can get a ton of stuff. The combo I do off of this generally is high jump 4, back 4 2, and then I do this, and that works. So that ender will work there if you time the running 3 right, and you get good damage. So definitely something that you should think about. It's not too often when a character gets a comboing 1+2 grab. And as I mentioned, doing that crouch shimmy into standard throws is something that will work very often as well. Let me grab some water, internet. Alright, so that covers her throws basically. She does have a couple of good side throws and back throws, but you guys can figure that shit out on your own. So basically we can now move on to the character's move list and just discuss some of the important tools she has. Her 1-1, I've mentioned, is part of her 1 series that you kind of have to use, but I don't really like to use it. It doesn't produce much damage in the long run. I think it's counter hit combo, yeah it is, but it's not really that effective to use that way. 1-1 is okay, not bad. 1-3 is also a counter hit combo. I think 1-4 might be. Yeah, 1-4 is also a counter hit combo. So basically everything that comes off of her 1 series is gonna combo if the 1 connects, at least the second hit. But as for me, I mentioned earlier, I think that 1-2-4 is the most important one. It's hit confirmable, 10 frame counter hit combo, gives you a knockdown and a wall splat. The wall splat for it though, since it's floating, you have to be a little bit far away from the wall. You have to be just far enough away for her to float to it, and then you can down to bound. So yeah, it's not like the best shit in the game, but it's something that I think is worth mentioning for her. Other than that, her 10 frame jab follow-ups are all shitty. I don't even think they're worth mentioning. 1-3 is solid to remember, but remember it can be low parried if they block the jab. And this one, 1-4, can hella be low parried. You don't even need to be facing a good opponent to get low parried for that. Let's see. Moving on. 1-3, 1-4. 2-on-1+2 is a bounding string. I mentioned it earlier. Let me show you what it looks like when it bounds. So it will bound like that. It's also cancelable at the 3rd hit by hitting back. 2-on-1+2 back will cancel it. It's not really that good of a string other than in combos. It does not jail. It's high. There is a high mid option, which is 2-3. I mentioned that this is her best 12 frame punisher, but I wouldn't use it ever other than for a 12 frame punisher unless you're doing a really clean whiff punish that you like for sure know is going to hit, because this is like -17 or something on block. So if you get this blocked, you're fucked. It's really unsafe. But it's definitely good if you know the first hit is going to hit, because you get the damage and knockdown. But as you can see, so far we've gone through quite a few of her first few moves in the move list, and they all are generally not that effective. 1-3 is probably the best one we've talked about so far, unless you're talking about punishment. So 2-3 is important, but 1-3 is just as far as an offensive tool, that's really the only thing we've even talked about so far that's worth half a shit. Sacred Blade is her low sweep. I wonder why it's so early in the command list, but that's interesting. Anyway, her low sweep is important because her only other low poke is down back 3 that's actually worth using, and this is decent because you don't see it very often due to the awkward command. You can't really do it off of very many things like crouch, or it's kind of difficult to do. Also, it has relatively shitty range for a low sweep, but it is pretty good, pretty decent. I'm not sure if she has an actual true combo off of this. She might have a combo off of this, but if she does, it's going to be one of those combos that's like, oh, there we go. Oh, I didn't even know that. So that's the combo you're going to want to do. I know it's hard. I knew it was hard because I never bothered doing it because it's so fucking hard. But that's the combo you're going to want to do. While standing 4, dash 1+4. And you'll be able to continue floating with that. Other options for this low, because it knocks them down in this way, back turns. So the easy combo is while standing 4, forward 2. That's the easy combo, way less damage. The right combo, as I mentioned, is dash 1+4 afterwards. Man, it's hard to do though. These are advanced combos. There we go. So that's the correct combo to do. But if you can't do that, if it's very difficult for you, other options for this are using the Okizeme afterwards. I like the Okizeme for this because basically when they're knocked down by this, they cannot tech roll. So their options are basically just to stay down or side roll or back roll. And you have really good tools for beating that. So if they stay down or quick rise, you could dash up and do another sweep. And if you do it fast enough, you trip them again, but this time back turn. And you can do a follow-up combo. So if you time it right, the second sweep will trip back turn, and boom, you got a combo going. So that's one option. That's going to beat play dead and a quick rise, as well as any get up kick or anything like that. So double sweep into each other is definitely a good option because of that. Now, if they're going to back roll, the second sweep is not going to work. So to beat a back roll, you can do that, and what will happen is the second hit will be guaranteed, and then if you do the sweep fast enough, you'll land the same thing that you landed earlier. So basically, dash up, full crouch into that shit, boom, 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 and you're sitting ugly with good damage and a ton of Okizeme. So let's reiterate here. After the sweep hits, you do a small dash into another sweep. If they quick rise, you're going to land a full juggle because the sweep itself is going to be hitting them on their back. When the sweep hits on their back, while standing 4, combos into a juggle. If they are back rolling to beat your second sweep, you dash up, full crouch into that cartwheel kick, which is, I think, full crouch 3+4, 3+4. It might be 3+4, 3. Yeah, it's full crouch 3+4, 3. If that hits their back off of a back roll, requires a little bit of timing. Then you do a sweep again instantly, and they're back into the same situation. So really a decent 50-50 off of this sweep if you're not confident in your ability to land this combo, which I am not. This is not an easy combo, and I would not do it until I practice the shit out of it in tournament. It's you need to practice it, basically. These are advanced combos. Not easy to do. Okay, so moving on. We talked about the sweep. I think the sweep is generally good, especially for Okizeme. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that you can cancel the sweep. I'm glad I remembered. So this sweep, 3-4, you can cancel it with down back. It's not the most effective shit on the planet because her wall standing moves are kind of butt cheeks. But, you know, you could do something like Falling Rain. You could do something like wall standing 3. I mean, remember, don't forget that while standing 3 hits on the ground. So let's say you do something like a sweep, and then... or you could do something like even a throw. I'll show you. So let's say you do something like a throw, and they're on the ground, and you did a sweep, and they didn't get up. While standing 3 will hit on the ground there. So, you know, even if you're trying to use this cancel to cause hesitation, and it didn't work, at least you still have options from crouch that'll hit on the ground. You also have full crouch down forward 2 will also hit on the ground. You know, you have options. It's not terrible. But I mean, it's not like something you're going to be canceling every time and doing all this dope shit. It's really not that effective, but it's there. It's worth mentioning. Let's see. 1+2, I talked about it earlier. I think that it's this is an interesting move because on paper it seems pretty good. It's mid and it's safe and it's 16 frames. But the problem with this move is that it's super, super linear. A single backdash with most characters will make it whiff. So the only real way to use this move is when you are 100% sure that they are not going to move. They're just blocking. So you've induced a ton of hesitation. Another case where you can use this move is in a tech roll situation where you know they can't backdash out of it. So you're doing it like meaty into a tech roll. That is another option where you can use this move. But it is a launcher. So while standing 4 afterwards will work if you don't suck. There we go. And there are other options too, because you can do something like 1+2. I think with Bruce, you could do 1+2, tag out, and still get a red life combo, even though this is not tag bufferable. You can also do 1+2, down 4-3, and then bring in your partner as well. So this is another one of those launchers that is not actually tag bufferable, but because Asuka has down back 4-3, she can tag buffer it. So definitely something that you should consider, because it's safe and because it's mid, but it's very linear and it's very, very short range. So just be very cautious how you use it. Okay. 3+4, I talked about. This is one of your primary low crushes. Because it's safe, it is a bit slow, but you have to remember that it's your lowest risk in terms of blocked low crush and reward. Like, you do have up forward 3, which is a safe low crush, but it does very little in terms of reward. But this one, this is a safe low crush, and it knocks down. And if you're a gangster, you could do the combo afterwards, which is very, very hard. But, you know, it's something that I would practice if I were planning on using this character. Man, it's not easy. There we go. Okay, so 3+4, really, really good move. I also should mention that this is one of your most important ground hitting moves. So another thing when I'm learning a character that I really want to emphasize is what moves do the most damage and hit on the grounded opponents. Something that you need to know basically with every character you use, and this is one of her most important ground hitting moves. It has pretty good range and coverage, and it's really good for just hitting a play dead grounded opponent. It does not catch side roll, so for that you have a sweep. And the sweep also does quite a bit of damage on a grounded opponent as well. So between 3+4 and 3×4, this is going to cover your moves that will beat play dead opponents. Opponents that want to just sit there. Those two are basically what you want to keep in mind for opponents like that. Moving on. This string is just so old, it's not even worth mentioning in this tutorial. I mean, who gives a shit about it? It's for picking up, you know, off of stuff like this combo. Like that. I should also mention, you know what, I'll mention it later when I talk about running 3, but anyway, 1+4 is an important combo filler, and it's useful for a bunch of things, but the string itself sucks ass unless you're using it for Okazemi and stuff. I mentioned earlier that if they get hit or blocked the first hit, they can just down jab and nullify this string every time. Moving on, you have the low option, which is whatever. Oh yeah, 1+4 3 can be good for a wall carry. So let's say you do a combo and then they hit the wall. At the end of the combo, if they hit the wall, 1+4 3 will hit on the wall, and then back 3 will hit low. So that's her solo wall carry wall combo, and I'll show you that later. But that's one option, one thing to use that string for. 2+3, I think this move sucks. It has a punch parry, which I will show you right now. Does that even work in that timing? There we go. It does punch parry, it does give you a knockdown, but the move really sucks. I would never ever use it. It's extremely slow, and the hitbox is really weak, and it's just too risky for its reward. It's no good. Wheel kick, no good. I personally feel like this move sucks. Demon Slayer is one of her most important moves. Demon Slayer is really, really important, and I'll teach you guys how I like to use it and the way I think it's most effective. So, as I mentioned, she is a whiff punishing machine. This is a 17 frame launcher. It's mid. It also hits grounded at many angles, but not every angle. But the most important thing about this move is that it's cancelable by hitting down. Now, the reason you're going to want to cancel this is, so let's say you're playing and you're spacing. if you notice that the opponent whiffs something, or even if you heard them press a button at times, I often like to hit forward 2, and then once I hit forward 2, watch their character carefully. This is where your reflexes come in. But if you have good reflexes, what you can do is see the whiff, hit forward 2, then look for what the whiff was. If the whiff was small, cancel the forward 2 and use their whiff to gain initiative, because you know forward 2 is too risky to try in that scenario, because all they did was whiff a jab or a down forward 1 or a down jab or something, right? So you don't want to go for forward 2 because it's launch punishable on block. But if they whiff something small, you can cancel it and then use that whiff to induce your offense and pressure and mix up. If their whiff was larger than something small and you see that, oh yeah, definitely forward 2 is going to launch, just let it rip. So this is actually like a whiff delay catch move, but it's also like a double whiff confirm, because you see that they whiffed, you do the move, but then you see what they whiff, and then you commit to it afterwards. Definitely is something that is doable. I've been doing this with this character since Tekken 5 DR. And those of you who don't know, in Tekken 5 DR, I mained Asuka for a long time. She was my main character in that game for quite a while. And yeah, that's the reason why I picked her, because I thought that this was a really good whiff punishing tool because of the way you can whiff confirm it. Oh, they whiffed? Oh no, I don't even want to deal with that because they only whiffed a jab. Let me cancel it, bing bang boom, up in the air, and that's the end of that chapter. You know what I mean? So I personally think forward 2 is an extremely key, important move for this character. And I highly suggest that players of this character practice seeing what whiffed and deciding after you've already input the move whether or not you should cancel it. That is something that I think is very, very important. Okay, let's see. Forward 3, I use this move for the cancel pretty often. It's something that you can do that looks like you're doing something when you're really doing nothing. Forward 3 back is how you cancel it. You can also hold it and do the unblockable, which is a gimmick, but it does work at times. So at the wall or something, you just do your combo, end with this, and then charge the unblockable. The unblockable is high, but it's pretty hard to duck and punish because it whiffs kind of quickly. It's not really that good. The forward 3 on its own is decent. It gives some plus frames on block. I think forward 3 after 2 spins, let's see, 1, 2, boom, that's more plus frames on block. And it's still mid. It only becomes high after 3 spins. So 1, 2, 3, boom, it's a high. But the first one is mid, and the second one, 2 spins, is also mid. So not terribly shitty, but definitely kind of a gimmick overall. I do like the forward 3 though. The forward 3 is something that you can definitely use just to do something when you need something to do and you don't want to overcommit. You can also close space during Okizeme with this. It's not terrible. I like it. I like this move. It kind of is another way for you to start your offense, and it's not that much risk. Talked about the unblockable version. Let's see. Forward 4 is a definitely really important move. So, I mentioned this character has forward 3 as a homing move. I also mentioned forward 4. Between these two moves, I mean, she's got her tracking covered, especially from range 1.5 or 2 or even further. Because of the range of forward 3 and the ability to do it off of a dash, I mean, you could close such a large amount of range with this move. And it's safe, and it's mid, and it tracks. So, definitely a solid move, something that you should always remember when you're playing this character. Forward 4, another move that is very important. It's +1, I think, on block, so that's really good. It's high, it's a homing move, so you have the makings of a really solid move here. On top of that, gives you a knockdown on normal hit, which is very good. I mentioned earlier, down back 4-3 will always work, no matter what. But it is way less damage than the full combo, which is dash up 1+4. But this is a really advanced combo. It's not easy to do. Not in the least bit. It's very, very hard. Man, it's so fucking hard doing these combos. That's what I'm talking about, man. How could you guys, not you guys, how could anyone think that this is a noob character when you can't even do her bread and butters? Her bread and butters are fucking hard, dude. And the fucked up thing about her bread and butters are the combos, there are no other combos. So her 3+4, this is a safe launcher that hits on the ground. But the only way to launch to get a combo afterwards is to be fucking G. You know, it's really tough. And that's the same with forward 4. Forward 4 is a launcher, but doing the combo afterwards is just not an easy task. It's really tough. I mean, it's not the kind of, there it goes. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that you have to practice. You can't just pick her up and even be a good player, like a solid high-level player, can't just pick her up and do all her max damage combos. You have to put the time in with her and practice these things. Because this stuff is very hard, but if you do them, you're really boosting the character's potential up quite a bit. Because these moves are really good moves. And if you got the skill, if you got the timing, you're turning these already good moves into launchers. I mean, really, that's not that common in this game. You know, it's not often where a character can only combo with a bread and butter. Like, there's no other option, and it's really hard. That's rare. So, definitely something you should consider practicing when you're using this character. It really raises the value of moves like backspin kick, which is forward 4, and 3+4. Definitely raises the value of those moves. Forward 1+2 I mentioned is really good for a 15 frame punish that if you cannot punish with down forward 2 because of range, forward 1+2 is definitely a really good option for that. Good damage, good knockdown, wall splat, and if they don't quick back roll, you get a forward 2 to be guaranteed. Down forward 1 is an important move with her because you need pokes. She doesn't have good pokes. 1-3 we talked about, sucks ass. Forward 4 you gotta use in her poking game. Down 4 generic shit, you gotta use that. Down back 3, another important one. I think standing 3 is important. I'll get to that. In fact, I'll get to that right now. Standing 3 is really important. I talked about it in her punishment section for a 14 frame punish, but you don't really want to use that because up forward 2 gives you a knockdown. However, as a standard poke, this is really good. I'm going to look up the frame data for you guys so I get it right, but that move is hella good on hit for frames. Let me find it. +9 on hit. So, basically, here's how this string works. Standing 3, there's a 1 extension. Standing 3, 1. This string is absolutely hit confirmable. Standing 3, delayed 1. Still a natural combo. But if you do that, let me check the frames for standing 3-1 real quick, just so I make sure. Okay, so standing 3-1, you're going to get 39 damage, and you're going to get +2. So 39, the last 17 points of damage is reducing your frame advantage from +9, which is standing 3 on its own, to +2 if you use 3-1. It is hit confirmable every time, and you can always hit confirm it. But I don't recommend hit confirming it because 17 points is not really that much, and this character does not benefit from +2 at all. +2 for Oscar is shitty because you don't have anything that has any kind of tracking or value that is faster than 12 frames. She has nothing like that. Excuse me, 1 second, let me get some water. Alright, so from this position, she has nothing that's going to be very, very valuable in this case. So what you're going to want to do, in my opinion, is just go with standing 3. Now, the reason why I think this is so good is because you can always dead button it. So standing 3 into 3 again, not only are you getting the plus frames, but let's say they blocked it, right? If they blocked it, you're still doing the dead button of the 3, so they think that the 1 is coming out, and they hesitate. So you can use this even on block if you set it up correctly to set up, let's say, a throw. +9 means they can't do shit. +9 is super fucked up in this game. And with +9, you can do all kinds of things that will yield more damage than 17 frames. So my personal opinion is it's not a good idea to take that additional 17 frames damage, even though it is hit confirmable, unless they're gonna die or you have some other reason. Like there's some other really good reason, because otherwise standing 3 being +9 is really good for a safe mid that has that kind of coverage. It's just a really good move overall. I would highly recommend using this in your poke game. Let's see. So that's one of her main pokes. Her down forward 1 is also really important for poking. It's 13 frames, it's mid, but it doesn't have a really great mid hitbox. See, as you can see there, where while standing 4 will float, down forward 1 will not float. So it's kind of a high hitbox. Yeah, if it's on axis, it will not float. Anyway, it's kind of a high hitbox. I don't love abusing this, but you do have to use it. Now, down forward 1-4 is definitely something that I would recommend using at times, because it is a counter hit combo and does give a knockdown with wall splat and good damage. Down forward 1-2 is a little bit riskier because it does not jail, and that means the opponent can duck under the second hit. However, it is a natural counter hit combo and will on counter hit convert into the same attack throw as up forward 2. So basically down forward 1-2, the second hit is like up forward 2. And it's a counter hit combo. So the thing is that down forward 1-2, though it's counter hit combo, it turns into this and is high on the second hit, it is safe on block. So if the opponent blocks it, they can't punish it. They have to duck it. In which case, down forward 1-4 is your mid option. However, the mid itself, I believe, is -11. So it's not safe. So that's the basic use of this string. Now, I would, again, you gotta always keep in mind that the dead button is important, because, you know, good players are gonna want to duck underneath this second hit. So dead buttons are important. Also, mixing in, even on block, the mid is very important, but this is a very important tool because she doesn't have that much shit in close for poking. So standing 3, down forward 1, down back 3, 1-3, back 4 is also a decent one. Moves like that are moves that you're going to want to keep in mind for your poking. And then on top of that, of course, you know your heavy commitment moves like can, back 3, sidestep 2, and all that stuff. Those are your, okay, I'm all in, fucking runner clubs, let's go. You know, those are those moves. So you got to keep these moves in mind for her poking game. Let's see, down forward 2, I already talked about it earlier. It's really important. 15 frame punish, one of her key moves. Safe on block, does not launch crouching opponents. For combos, you have a lot of options. I'll show you a couple of them. You have that. That works at the end. You also have, you can do forward 1-3, down 2 into that shit. Lots of different things work. She has a lot of options. Down forward 2 is really important. Again, I mentioned earlier that though down forward 2 is not tag bufferable like all of her other shit, she has a lot of tag bufferable stuff. Though her down forward 2 is not tag bufferable, you can still get red life combos off of it by doing down forward 2, down back 4-3, and then bringing in your partner. Some characters you can do down forward 2, back 2, 4-3, and then bring them in with something else. Like for Dragunov, you could do a running 2. I fucked it up. Like that. So yeah, you have a lot of options. Her down forward 2 is extremely important. It's a really key move. Definitely want to focus on this move for lots and lots of stuff. Moving on. Down forward 3, this is also a very important move, especially for your scramble situations and if your opponent's back is to the wall. Now, the thing that makes this move usable is not only that it's a safe mid wall splatting knockdown move, so you're going to want to use this at the wall to pressure and you know, get the knockdown. It's also safe on block, and additionally, the animation looks kind of similar to down back 3. So you have down back 3 as a low poke, pretty decent, and then you have down forward 3, which is safe on block and will give you a knockdown in his mid. So that's one of the reasons why down forward 3 is important. Again, this is one of those wall splat, really important for her wall game. So keep that in mind. Down forward 1+2 is like totally garbage. It's never been good. There's no reason to do this over a standard low parry. The move itself is super slow and shitty. I believe it doesn't do anything on counter hit either. The only way to get it to do anything worth half a shit is to successfully low parry something with it, which I'll show you right now. Like that. And then they'll be stunned like that, and then you can continue your combo. However, why the fuck would you ever take this massive amount of risk doing this slow piece of shit when you could just do the safest thing ever, which is a manual low parry? You know, so I genuinely think this this move sucks ass. There's like no use for it at all. It's also unsafe. It's linear, unsafe, slow, no reward. I mean, what the fuck is this thing for? I can't even imagine why you would use it. A standard low parry with no whiff will give you at least a partial, you know, low parry combo. And doing this, it's just like, I mean, the only way I could see this working is in a case like this. Like, let's say the opponent does some shit like that. If the opponent does some shit like that, I'm pretty sure you can do it. Can you do this from crouch? No, you can't. So let's try it on block. Yeah, you could do it on block. So let's say you block a jab and there's a low string or something. It's usable like that. You're gonna definitely need to do your homework though to find out exactly what that works on. So I won't say it's completely useless. Excuse me. Generally, I'm the type of player that likes to give moves a chance before I condemn them. And this one, I can see there being some potential for it. It's not useful out in the open, but there are some moves, like the one I just showed you, some strings, where you might be able to use it to low parry and then grant yourself a full combo. But I don't use that shit very often. So it's up to you Oscar players out there to decide exactly where you can use it. I mean, who knows? Maybe it works for Junkyard. Who knows? It's possible. Maybe Steve's back 1-2. You can low parry with that. I'm not positive. So, you know, just something you should think about. Moving on. Let's see. Oh, where was I? Down forward 3. Down forward 1+2. Okay, so down 2, I genuinely think this move sucks. It's only good for a bound move. It does on counter. It's safe on block. It's mid. But it's very linear. And also the range is really short on it. In my opinion. Especially if you use it for what it looks like it can be used for. I feel like the range is a bit short. I think on counter hit you get a launcher. Yeah, you get a launcher on counter hit, which isn't bad. And it is safe. So not terrible, but generally speaking, I don't use it. I think the main reason I don't use it is because it has a really bad hitbox. It's very linear. It also hits kind of high up. Like, for example, this is a bound move, but it won't beat relax. It won't beat, you know, low hitting stances. They'll get under this. It's like a really high hitting bound move. So I don't really use it that much. But I mean, yeah, it is decent. It does do the counter hit combo, and it is safe. So it's up to you. This is one of those moves where it's like used at your own discretion. I personally don't use it that much, but it's definitely usable. It's just not abusable, in my opinion. Let me check the frames on that actually, because it is a unique move. Let's see what the frames are. Down 2 is +9 crouching on hit and -4 on block. So, you know, that's actually a lot better. I mean, you know, these tutorials, maybe this is one of those things that I should actually consider adding to my game. I don't know if they changed the frames on that, but down 2 on hit is actually pretty good. +9, that's not bad for a safe mid. So I might just start incorporating this into my gameplay. I mean, part of the reason why I do tutorials is so I can improve myself as well. So this is definitely something that's worth looking at. At first glance, I always thought it sucked, but, you know, I guess it can have uses since it's safe and it gives so much frames on hit and it yields some reward on counter hit. I apologize to this move. Down 2, I'm sorry. I'll use you a little more. So yeah, down 2, not too shabby. Down 1, A little bit shabby. Here's the thing. This move is decent, especially if your opponent's back is to the wall. You do get a knockdown. It does okay damage, but really the thing that sucks about it is that's all you get. The follow-ups, there isn't much you can do to really deal with the opponent's back rolling. So basically, if they get hit by this and they back roll, there is not that much you can do. And it's also, I don't even think you can set the opponent to do it in practice mode. But in real life, if you hit with this and the opponent holds back, there really isn't much you can do for Okizeme. So, I mean, this move is okay. It's not bad. It's very hard to see. I think it's pretty much unseeable. You can do it from crouch, which is very important for canceling forward 2. But just remember that it's very risky. It's launch punishable. And it doesn't really reward you much for something that's launch punishable. It does give you a knockdown, but it really, I don't know. Oh, this will also spike. That's something to remember. Excuse me. So, let's say you're in a situation where you're waking the opponent up over breakable floor. This move will wake them up by hitting them on the ground, and it also will break through the floor if they try to back roll or quick rise or something. So, in the situation where you set them up where they're on the ground and there's breakable floor beneath you, this is definitely something to remember. 3+4 is also one like that. If 3+4 hits a quick rising or back rolling opponent, it will break through breakable floor, which means that you'll get a additional combo underneath, down below. So yeah, it's decent. It's not terrible. I would use it. It's not something that I would exclude from my game, but I would highly recommend not using it from just out in the open. Like, if you're gonna just dash up and do it, you're gonna get fucked up. There's no way this is gonna hit someone who's just moving around. It's extremely linear and it has short range. So the only real way to use it is when they're absolutely hesitating. Let's see, moving on. Down 3+4, this is basically her, like, most important move. This is like Ryu's Dragon Punch or Fireball. It's like the main key move. Can is 14 frames. It's a counter hit launcher that starts low. If the opponent blocks the first hit, which is a low, the high will whiff and you can get launched. However, this is such a fast move that the only way the opponent's ever going to block it is if they were already ducking in the first place. In which case, it's your fault for using Can when they're ducking. So, you can't really fault Can for that. It's really cheap. You can use it as a 14 frame counter hit tool all day. You can use it as a low crushing tool all day. This is the move. This is the move that terrorizes people online. This and back 3 are the two moves that really are bullshit. Back 3 is way less bullshit offline because it's extremely unsafe on block. But Can is bullshit offline, it's bullshit online, it's bullshit everywhere. And it's safe on block and it's super cheap. If you do land the counter hit or a crush, you get a full combo. Let me remember what the combo is. No, that doesn't work. Yeah, I think you have to just do Can into 2-1, 2-1-1 plus 2. And then you can move on after that. I'm sure there are other combos, but that's the only one that I know as of right now. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't really emphasize this enough. Can, I don't know what else to tell you. 14 frame counter hit launcher is really, really important. I mean, this is the move. This is the move that you're going to want to mix into your offense, mix into your defense. Always have it in mind 100% of the time. Always think about Can when you're using her. Let's see. Down back 1. I really don't like this move at all. I'm going to look at the frame data for you guys. I really don't like that move. It's +3 on hit, -7 on block. There is an extension. You cannot hit confirm it. It's down back 1-2. The 2 is not a normal combo, natural combo. You have to counter hit with the down back 1 to land it. Also, the 2 version, this is a string version of down 1 plus 2. And the string version does not knock down, so it's really shitty. The low also has no mix-up, so down back 1-2 has no mix-up to deal with the low. And on top of all that shit, the low is minus 13 on block. So not only is there not a mix-up, and they can low parry it, but if they block it, it's minus 13, and it's just really not that good. The first hit on its own does high crush really reliably. I will admit that it's useful for that, but I would never use the string. The string itself sucks terribly. So just use down back 1 when you want to mid poke that high crushes. The low, I don't know. I don't love it. It's not going to win you any tournaments. I mean, you could use it, but it's really, really a lot more risk than you need to be taking. All right, let's see. Moving on. Down back 1, 2. Down back 2. This is high crush that is tag bufferable, so definitely something to remember. It is. Let me get some water real quick. All right. Down back 2 is a high crush. It is tag bufferable. However, I don't really think it's that useful. Back 3, though back 3 is a really interesting move, and I'll talk about it later, but I generally feel like back 3 takes the place of down back 2. Not 100% completely, because the down back 2 does have a little bit better of a high crush. It also backswings a little bit, so it will make some mids whiff as well. Back 3 also has similar evasive properties as well, but you know, it's not bad to remember that down back 3 exists in case you want to do, you know, whatever. Let's see. Down back 2, not bad. Down back 3, already talked about it as your main primary low poke. How did I tag that? How do you do that? Fixed display. How do I take that off? There we go. Okay, so down back 3, I'm going to look up the frames for you. The frames are very, very shitty, but you should know them. So down back 3 is +4 on hit and minus 12 on block. So +4 on hit, minus 12 on block. Also leaves the opponent crouching. But the problem is you're left standing, which is generally not bad for most characters. But for her, +4 is not going to help you at that range that much. So you could follow up with something like forward, forward 2. Or you could follow up with something like, let's say, I don't know, standing 3. That's a decent option at 14 frames. But, you know, down back 3 is doesn't give you the best frames. You still need it. It's her only low poke that you can use that's actually valuable. So you definitely need it. But, and the opponent's crouching too, so that's not terrible. Standing 3, something to remember afterwards. There are some things you can use with it, but just remember another thing that's really important about this is that it does not track to your left. So if you do it and the opponent sidewalks right, you're fucked. So be very, very cautious how you use this against sidewalking opponents. But yeah, I mentioned earlier it looks kind of similar to down forward 3. Though down back 3 is unseeable, still the initial animation can at times cause the opponent to duck or stand, depending. Let's see, back 1. This is an extremely slow low that I believe is either minus 11 or safe on block. It might be minus 11, but it's relatively safe. On counter hit, it does shift into this attack throw, which gives good damage and allows for Okizeme. However, it's so slow that oftentimes the opponent, if they're sharp, can just low parry it. So be careful how you use it. It does high crush, so you can use it to get under high strings, but you just have to be cautious how you use it. Let's see, back 1, counter hit, talked about that. Back 2. Back 2 is the starter of a string starter. You can use it to go into her 1 series, which comes off of 1-1 as well, the spinning mid punch. So back 2-1 will give you all of the extensions from her 1 series, like all that. Back 2-4 is important for stuff like, as I mentioned, down forward 2, back 2-4-3. into that shit. That's why it's important. Back 2-4 is also back 2-4-3 is also her good TA filler. So in a combo like this, that's her TA filler, really good 3-hit TA filler that launches very high. So that's important for that. So back 2 is the beginning of a lot of important shit. I should mention that back 2 1+2 4 is really important for her wall game. This is a natural counter hit combo, and it's counter hit confirmable, and it wall splats. So you do back 2 1+2. If it hit on counter hit, you do the 4, and boom, you're gonna get a ton of damage. You should always dead button the last hit as well. So back 2 1+2 1, or back 2 1+2 3. Just because the second hit, if it's blocked, I think is -10 or 11, or maybe 12. I'm gonna double check it. Back 2 1+2, where is that shit? Back 2 1+2 on block is -10. So it's not completely safe to just be counter hit fishing with back 2 1+2. It will go punished by 10 frames. So you can use the last hit to, because the last hit's -12 on block. So this is really, really important for your wall game overall. Really, really important. The range on back 2 is not half bad either for what it does on counter hit, as you can see. Not terrible. And it does a shitload of damage if you wall splat. So really, really good for that. And I'll talk about her wall game before I end the tutorial. Back 2 3. What the fuck is that? Is that what that said? Back 2 1, sorry. Back 2 1, yeah, I talked about that. Back 2 4, I talked about that. Back 2 1+2, talked about all that. Back 3. So back 3 is one of those nightmare moves. This move is really, really good online because it's very hard to punish, especially if you consider the follow-ups. Because back 3 also has back 3-2, which I wouldn't recommend using unless it's blocked. You can use it on block to... Yeah, there are a lot of mind games involved with this move. There are a lot of things that you can do. So, the move itself is tag bufferable, but I wouldn't recommend tag buffering it like that. The best way to tag buffer it is to do back 3, and then hit confirm it, and then do 4-3. Because when you do the back 3, you have a lot of time to tack on the follow-up 4. So back 3, hit confirm 4-3, and then when you do that, you can bring in your partner and then do red life combos. Other options are back 3 4 1+4, and then you gotta finish the string. I'm not sure what the, maybe down 2. I don't know what the hell the combo is. There we go. Nope, that didn't work either. Well, basically my point is I don't really know what the combo is to do after that. I know there's a combo you could do solo, but what I do is I do back 3 4-3 and then bring in your partner and do a red life combo. Now this string, this move itself is really, really weird because I think it's only supposed to be a low crush. Excuse me. I think it's only supposed to be a low crush, but because of the way, as you can see, the way she does a backflip there, it's actually, during the animation, it's high crushing as well. So this move essentially will beat highs as well as lows. So this character, you don't really have to defend all the time with her. Sometimes you can just use a lot of her moves as, okay, are they or are they not going to attack? I'm going to do this move if they're going to attack. Because it will cover a lot of the opponent's options that they will attack with. So, yeah, this is really a key move. This is the one that terrorizes everybody. You have to be cautious, though. On block, it's really unsafe. Launch punishable. You have to be very careful how you use it. But when you do figure out the feel of it, man, this move can really, really terrorize people. Really, really a solid move. Moving on. Back 3-2, talked about that. Back 3-4, whatever. Okay, back 4 and back 4-2. So back 4-2 is a counter hit. Back 4 itself is a counter hit launcher. Like that. It's safe, it's mid, it's plus on hit. Let me check how much plus for you guys. Plus 8 on hit, which is quite a bit. It used to be more in Tekken 5. It's never a natural combo, so you shouldn't ever really use the second hit unless you're using it in a bound combo. So like, let's say you're doing this, boom, boom. Okay, that's a case where you can use the second hit. But if you're just standing, on regular hit, you don't want to use the second hit. And on counter hit, you don't want to use the second hit either because you're basically doing the wrong bound move. You're doing an early bound. So what you're going to want to do is something, you know, something else. If you land the counter hit, you're going to want to do something like that because you're doing a later bound. Back 4 also is one of those moves where if it counter hits, depending on your opponent, you can bring them in and float. So let's say someone like Bruce or Lars or Nina would be able to tag buffer that on counter hit. Even though it's not tag bufferable, you can do a combo afterwards. So something else to remember. Back 4 too, I would, however, consider dead buttoning it and using the string like that because it is safe. So that's one thing you can use it for. If the second hit counter hits and the first hit is blocked, you get a face down knockdown like that, and I think you get free hits. So on occasion, the second hit can knock down, and you know you'll get some damage off of it if it counter hits. Let's see. Moving on. Back 4-2. Back 1+4. Oh yeah, I remember these moves. Okay, so this is 12 frames, the first hit. It is a natural combo if the first hit hits. The second hit does have pretty decent tracking. And there are follow-ups. The mid follow-up is, I think, -12 or 14. Let me double check it for you guys. Back 1+4. Where is that shit? What the fuck? Okay, -14. The low is -13. So we have back 1+4, 4, which does the mid, -14. Back 1+4, 3 does the low at -13. The low is not really that good. It does 24 damage. Not very advantageous on hit. Kind of dangerous to proceed. The mid will turn them around, if I recall correctly. But again, not really much you can do with this because you're stuck recovering. So, you know, it's just like it's an option. Generally, back 1+4 is okay on its own. For 30 damage, it's going to track them. If you dead button, you know, a follow-up, you can cause a little bit of hesitation and proceed with your offense. Moving on. Up forward 2, I already talked about this move. It's safe, good whiff punish, good block punish at 14 frames. You can also do it from crouch for a crouching block punish, and good Okizeme and damage. Up forward 3 is your safe hop kick, but it requires counter hit to launch. If it does launch, you can do something like that to combo. If you don't want a tag buffer, you can do down back 4-3, down 2. That'll bound. Up forward 3 is pretty good. It'll track pretty well to her left, and it advances really decently. You could do it from crouch, so you could do something like forward 2 down, up forward 3. Pretty decent. Forward 2 down, down 1+2, forward 2 down, up forward 3, forward 2 down, up forward 2. These are all options that are decent. Earlier, this is kind of backtracking a little bit, but earlier I mentioned that hitting the sweep on a back-turned opponent will land you a combo. There are some cases where this is really useful. For example, if you hit down forward 1-2 on a back-turned opponent, this will knock them down in that way, and they cannot duck it. So normally, if you do down forward 1-2 on normal hit, they can duck the second hit on block. But if you hit their back with it, they cannot crouch the second hit on block. And if it hits, you get a sweep set up like that. So then you can use the Okizeme in the way I mentioned. So sometimes the opponent will be back turned. Sometimes you'll have the opportunity to use this. And when you do, that's what you should do. Just wanted to mention that because I was talking about, you know, all that shit. And I just wanted to mention it. Up forward 3, pretty decent for all that shit. It's also safe on block. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's also safe on block. 4421 and 4421 plus 2 are huge additions to her game. This is one of the most important ways to close offense. 442 has very good tracking. It's mid, and because it's done off of a dash, it will track your opponent even more if you delay the dash. So if you do 442 buffered like that, it's not going to have as much tracking as a big deep dash 442. 4421 is hit confirmable, and it has a huge delay window, so really, really good for hit confirming. And you should never have to worry about it being mid-high and not jailing. They conduct the second hit on block, but if you are hit confirming it, that's never going to be a problem. So practice hit confirming this. It's really, really cheap. If you know that the opponent is going to get hit, you could do forward 1 plus 2 1 plus 2. I'm sorry, 442 1 plus 2. It does more damage and is mid. And it will wall splat as well. So really, really good for that. 54 damage versus, I think it was 47 damage. 49 damage. That's still really good. That's a lot of damage for a safe hit confirmable move. 442. You can just do this shit all day long. And then boom, hit confirm. Really, really super good move. This is also, I should add, something that you can do if you land full crouch down forward 2 on counter hit at the wall. So if you land full crouch down forward 2 counter hit at the wall, you can do forward 2 1 plus 2, and if you do it just right, it will be a combo. That is a little bit advanced, but it's the highest damage wall splat she has. So, man, I'm fucking it up. Why is it not working? Maybe it doesn't work unless the wall's there. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you gotta be sharp, but 73 damage for a wall splat is crazy. I mean, that's crazy. You're gonna do a shitload of damage depending on your team if you land that. But otherwise, the easy version is full crouch down forward 2 counter hit while standing 1-4. That's gonna be the easy wall splat. 442 itself, I know it's minus 13. I noticed Fergus mentioning it, but if you're a dead buttoner like me, it's never gonna go punished because the follow-ups for this move are very dangerous. 442 1 plus 2 and 442 1 are both very, very dangerous moves. So if you do 4422, the opponent is never gonna fuck with you. 4422, 4422, they're gonna be like, where's the second hit? Oh, he's not gonna do it? 4421, boom, he did it. Oh god. You know, that's what's always gonna happen if you use it that way. 4422 and 442 in general, really, really, really good move. Let's see, moving on. 442 1 plus 2, talked about that. 443 is really important because it has a huge cone-shaped coverage. Basically anywhere like 45 degrees in front of you, the opponent cannot be moving if you do this move. It's a mid, it hits side roll, so it has a really low hitting hitbox. Characters have trouble going into AOP or relax or whatever under this move. It's got a really nice beefy hitbox. Knockdown on normal hit gives you that funky knockdown. Wall splat, safe on block, really, really good. It's kind of a self-explanatory move. Just basically it's a homing move and it's mid, so you can freely use it at long range. Really, really a good move overall. Let's see. Moving on, 444. This move is interesting because initially I didn't really love it, but there is some uses for it, and I found out that it's an extremely high damage launcher and it's safe. So this is a safe high. That's the problem with it. It's linear and it's high, but it's safe on block and it yields a shitload of damage. You can do quite a bit off of it. Running 3 afterwards into a bound is like a ton. I could get 110 damage off of this combo with this team, and I'm sure there's a lot more that you could do. Forward 4 is something that I think is worth adding into your game only because it's so much damage. I think it's rare where you can use it, but because it's safe, I kind of recommend it. The damage is so high. I mean, that last hit, if it hits, you get 110. 110 is a shitload of damage, you know, off of normal hit safe launcher. I don't know. I'm on the fence about this move. This is one of those I'm on the fence about it types of moves because the reward is there. The risk is also there, but it's not as risky as something like back 3, and people do that shit all the time. Back 3 is launch punishable by almost every character in the game, and people do it all day. While 442, they have to be ducking. I mean, you can't see it and duck. On top of that, it low crushes very, very quickly. So that little hop she does in the beginning will low crush under pokes. So it's possible that this move might be a lot more usable than it seems. You know, the damage that you get after it off of the running 3 follow-up really is what makes me think it's something that you should at least consider. I'm considering it. I think that the reward is high enough and the risk is not high enough to at least consider it because of it's safe, you know. It's safe on block. You can't use it when they're moving around too much or ducking, but the damage, so much Danny. Man, I gotta practice my combos. Anyway, running 3, since we're on the topic, because it works off, basically the reason it works off of this combo is because it will always float back rollers. So if you back roll and she anticipates it, she can use running 3 to catch back roll and combo. Like I'm doing right there. So you should always keep in mind that if the opponent is back rolling a lot, running 3 is like a beastly back roll catch because the damage on the initial hit is fucking high. 43 damage on the first hit. So essentially you're almost juggling them without a launcher and still getting, you know, high damage, pretty high damage for a float. Most of the time, if you're gonna float, you're using something low damage like 1+4. Look at that, 2 hits. You're wasting 2 hits of your combo and doing 7 damage. If you're back roll floating with 1+4, 7 damage. That's dog shit. You compare that to fucking running 3. Boom, already with 19 damage when the combo even starts. That's a huge difference. So you might want to think about that. Let's see. What did I do? Revert to default. Nope. I didn't mean to do that. While standing 1, I talked about it earlier. 15 frame punish. Let's see. Moving on. While standing 2, I talked about it having +8 frames and 14 frame punish. While standing 3, I mentioned it's 19 frames. It is a launcher, but because it's so slow, you won't be using it that often. It does have a really good high crush during the animation, but you can still get thrown and electricked out of it, so good highs will beat it, but it's still a good high crush. It is tag bufferable, as you saw me do right there, and it does hit on the ground. So you should definitely consider it for Okazemi as well. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, while standing 1+2, this is a really important move too. While standing 1+2 is this move. It goes across the screen. It's mid, it's an elbow, and it's safe. So it's pretty good. It's cancelable by holding down. Not the best cancel in the world, but it does exist. The real important part of this move is that the reward is huge. So if you land the counter hit, you get a full launch with forward 2. This is a shitload of damage. You're doing 59 before the combo, so ton of damage. Let's see, what's a good combo afterwards? Oops, I fucked up. Basically, this is one of the highest damage things she can actually produce. It's hard to hit with this on counter hit because of the speed. It's so slow. Also, even though it looks like it, she is not high crushing during this animation, so you can get jabbed out of it and all kinds of stuff. So basically, you have to use this when there's hesitation. You know, it's hard. It's hard to hit on counter hit, but it is safe. So just keep that in mind. You get a shitload of damage when it hits. Lot of damage. Look at 110 red life combo. That's, you know, that's, and I didn't even try to optimize. I'm just doing shit off the top of my head, you know. So this is a lot of damage. So you're gonna want to practice counter hit confirming this, because you do have to input the forward 2 relatively quickly. If you don't input it right away, you'll just float them like that. In order to hit them standing, you have to hit it right away. So make sure you practice counter hit confirming that, because that is quite a bit of damage with this character. Let's see, moving on. Full crouch 3+4-3. I mentioned earlier the only real use that I've found for it is off of a back roll catch. So if you do something like this, you can back roll catch them like that. Use that, bing bang boom, and you're in combo town. So that's something that I use it for on occasion, for a back roll catch. But other than that, it's kind of shitty. I wouldn't really recommend it. Let's see, moving on. Full crouch down forward 2, I think, is also one of her most important moves, and I highly recommend you practice this move and the combo afterwards. So the move itself, I think it's, I'm going to check the frames for you. It's very unimpressive unless you land a counter hit, but it's very, very usable because of the counter hit property. Where is that shit? Man, where the fuck is this move? Oh, there it is. Crouching down forward 2. So it's 0 on hit and minus 11 on block. So that's not half bad considering what you get on counter hit. So from full crouch, you have all these moves that lead you into full crouch. You have forward 2 down. You have while standing 1+2 down. The sweep cancel. All this stuff that leads you into full crouch. And from there, you have this low. This low does unimpressive damage on hit, as you can see. It also is 0 on hit, which is also very unimpressive. However, on counter hit, you do get this knockdown. It's not really a knockdown. It's like a stun. Now, this stun grants plus 18 as a standing opponent. So what that means is, if you... I'm going to just turn counter hit on for this explanation, just so I don't have to keep key charging. So, what that means is, you will get anything that is 18 frames or faster. The opponent will be standing, which means they can't block it and they're going to get hit standing. So, if the wall is to their back, as I mentioned earlier, while standing 1-4 is unblockable if this counter hits. So that is a true combo, while standing 1-4. If you want a little bit more damage, forward 2-1 plus 2 is also a combo. Much harder to do, but it definitely is a combo. While standing 1-4 is generally a lot easier, though, if you're going for the wall splat. But that's not the important shit. The important shit is that this move can launch if you crouch cancel with a down forward 2. Now, you do have the option of doing forward 2. So full crouch down forward 2 on counter hit into a crouch cancel forward 2 is a combo. However, this is not what I would recommend you do, because the only way to land that as a true combo is to do a perfect 1-frame crouch cancel. And I wouldn't care. I wouldn't say don't do that. I would say practice it. However, you will fuck it up. And if you fuck this up, you are muy fucked. So this is not a safe attempt at max damage, which is why I do not recommend attempting max damage here. Because if you mess it up, you're going to get that blocked, which is launch punishable. So really, this is a just frame. You have to do a perfect full crouch cancel, and it's not worth doing in my opinion. Because perfect crouch cancel takes 1 frame to do, and this is 17 frames, and since you have plus 18 off of this, you have to do a perfect crouch cancel. So, fuck that, basically. The thing to do is down forward 2. Much, much easier. You have basically 3 frames to crouch cancel here. So, it's a lot. As you can see, I'm getting it just about every time. I missed it there, but it's not that hard to do. You have basically down forward 2 is 15 frames, and you have plus 18 off of this, so you get 3 frames to crouch cancel as opposed to 1. So I would highly, highly recommend doing crouch cancel down forward 2 as opposed to crouch cancel forward 2 here, just because no matter how good you are, you're gonna fuck it up eventually, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's too hard. Even if you are able to land it, the fact that you could get it blocked, it's really not worth it, because look at the difference. All you're gonna get, let me look at the damage difference. Forward 2, what is that, 27? Down forward 2 is 18. You're losing out on 9 points of damage. So for that 9-point sacrifice you're making, you're saving the potential of eating hundreds of points of damage, because this is so punishable on block. I don't think that's that bad of a, compromise. You're losing out on 9 points of damage, but in the long run, you're never going to deal with the big fuck up, because down forward 2 is safe, so you're never going to deal with the punishment of forward 2 there. So I think this is really important. I want to really emphasize it because it's unique, it's high damage, it's low risk, and it's really, really good. So it's something that I think everyone should practice with this character. Really important. Among all the other different combos that I mentioned that are really high level, high skill combos, that's one of them that I would recommend practicing. Let's see, where are we? This is running a bit long, but sidestep 2, this is also very important. These moves, sidestep left or right, if you do the move itself, it will auto sidestep as well. So the sidestep itself will evade, and the move itself also has an additional evade. This move is good for when you get something blocked that's safe. You can sidestep and do it. It's especially valuable when your opponent's back is to the wall. So because it will wall splat, and the evasiveness will really be effective at the wall. It's, I think, minus 11 or 12 on block, so you don't want to abuse it too much. On top of that, it's really short range. So let's say you do that setup I said earlier, back 4, and then you want to do that. If they did not attack, if they decided to backdash, you're going to completely whiff. So I would highly, highly recommend being very cautious when you're using this. I mean, online people do it all day. Online people do all this shit all day, but it's really not effective in the real life scheme of Tekken. So you have to be careful when you're using moves like this because of the short range and the difficulty to apply them. During sidestep 4 is an interesting move. It high crushes. I don't use it very often, but I should mention that on counter hit, it does knock down for a combo. So, whatever. It's not my favorite move with her. It kind of sucks. But, it exists. I guess you could remember that. Let's see. Now, where are we? Oh, these are her strings. Forward 1. Yeah, I've already talked about it. There isn't really that much to mention. You guys can explore her strings. You could do forward 1, down 4, forward 1, can. It's not really worth me mentioning because none of them are too valuable. So, you guys go ahead and explore these. Leg cutter. The move itself is not really that good. You can use the low on its own. It does hit on the ground every time. If you do down back 4-3, it is a counter hit combo if they did a high, but it's low high. So if they block the first hit, the second hit's gonna whiff over their head, and you're gonna get launched. So you have to be cautious. These are all really, really online only tools. It's not really that good. Let's see. These are all the throws. I think that's about it. What's this? Oh, sample combos. Alright, well that basically covers it. So before we move on to me smoking a cigarette and looking at flowers, I really quickly just want to show you her wall game. It's not really that special. There isn't really that much that there is to talk about, so it's not going to take too long. But there are some moves that I recommend using near the wall that, that I think are valuable. Down forward 3 is one of them. I highly recommend using... Oh, I'm glad you reminded me, Internet. Attack reversal. Woo, I'm glad. Silver Forte. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, yeah, and down back 1+2. These are two things I'll talk about right now. One of them is shitty. The other one is extremely muy good. Down back 1+2 is basically a high unblockable. People call it a throw, but it should not be called a throw because it's not really a throw. It's just an unblockable. It shifts into this animation and it's +4 on hit or block. You can't do anything about that. The problem now, though, is that it's high. It used to be more plus frames on hit, and it used to be mid. Now it's high, so you have to be careful how you use it. Also, +4 is not really that lucrative for Asuka, so this is really shitty. It doesn't do any damage or anything, so not really that good. However, her counter and her long counter are super duper good. Let me explain why they're super duper good. I don't know if I can easily do this with the AI, but let's just record it and fuck it. Down forward 1, down forward 1. So, if you counter a punch, it will do this animation. At that point, you can dash up, and if they try to get up at all, a 1+4 will hit. Like that. Boom, boom, combo city. Now, if they stay on the ground, 3+4 will hit. So, you're basically using that 50-50 for Okizeme after a counter. And that only works if they do a punch, if that's a punch counter. Let's see what she does for a kick. So for her kick counter, you get basically generic Okizeme because they're face up, feet towards. It's really not that great of a situation because you can't stop them from quick rising. So really the big mustard in this counter is when you counter a punch. Now I should mention, I want to show you guys this, but I don't know how easy it will be. Okay, so I'm gonna move this idiot all the way to the wall. And then I'm gonna jump over. And then I'm gonna knock him down. So now, if you parry something now, in this position, it will wall splat like that. So that's really valuable when your back is to the wall. Always remember when your back is to the wall that your counter is actually a wall splatting combo starter. So keep that in mind as well. Now, there are a lot of strategies involved with the counter itself. One of the cheapest ones that Insomnotech came up with years ago is short counter can. Because when you're often using long counter, the opponent will use they'll use something like delayed. Or they will do something like they'll wait for you to do the counter and then they'll attack with an elbow or something. So what you can do is, this is a cheesy ass strategy that I've seen top level Japanese Asuka players use, and that is to do a short counter, and if they think, oh, he fucked up, you do a can and it basically will counter hit anything they do because they think you're doing a long counter and they don't realize that you can attack already. So that's something. So that's a way to use short counter. Long counter is cheap because it's active basically forever. So you don't really have to time it. If they attack you while your hands are out like that, it's going to turn into a counter. So this is a unique reversal that I think everyone should familiarize themselves with, especially when your back is to the wall, because it can turn the tides big time. It can turn a situation where your back's to the wall and you're getting fucked into bing bang boom, now you're doing the fucking. So you're the fucker now. And that is really something that you should keep in mind when you're being pressured at the wall. Again, thank you for reminding me about that. And if you guys notice anything else that I forgot that's really crucial, like short counter or stuff like that, feel free to mention it. I'll try and glance over. I try not to look at the chat too much when I'm doing tutorials because I get distracted really easily, and then the tutorial ends up taking like 4 hours and shit. So anyway, moving on, what I wanted to mention at the end here is I wanted to talk about her wall game a little bit. So let's go to position settings, wall hit. So her main wall splatting tool is down forward 3. You can use down forward 3 into can to re-wall splat. For her solo combo, you would do something like back 4-2 afterwards. But the real interesting thing here is to tag out. So you can tag out and bring in your character there and bring in and do man, get it together. It's been a long tutorial, internet. Give me a break. Down forward 3, can tag, bing bang, boom. I fucked it up. But let me show you guys the combo I'm trying to do. Okay, that's a combo you can do. I should mention, so okay, down forward 3, you can use can to re-wall splat there. 4-4, 1 plus 2, 2, and other wall splats don't allow for that. So down forward 3 is kind of unique in that sense. I really highly recommend the use of this move at the wall. It's really good for that. Full crouch down forward 2 also should be abused at the wall because of this combo into a wall splat. Really effective for that. Oh yeah, Fergus just reminded me a lot about her wall game. So he mentioned that full crouch or down 1 plus 2 gives a free sweep at the wall. So that's one reason why it's good and usable at the wall. But he also reminded me that 3 plus 4 is a launcher at the wall. So 3 plus 4 is basically a low crushing mid launcher at the wall. You don't have to do that hard ass combo, but you know, out in the open. So that's really fucking good. I mean, super duper good. 3 plus 4, back 4-2, and then the appropriate combo. Oh, I fucked it up. That's like really good damage. 102 damage off of a safe mid ground hitting, you know, launcher. Really good. 3 plus 4 gains value big time when you are near the wall. Also, full crouch down forward 2. I mentioned that. Let's see. I'm skimming through the chat right now to see what I perhaps missed. Back to 4-3. Oh yeah. For a filler, you can also use that. For a wall filler for Oscar, I use back 2-1 delayed down 4. It's good damage. It takes a little bit of practice, and it has a very peculiar sidestep it makes you do. So if you pay close attention to Dragunov, that sidestep Dragunov did, that sidestep left, I did not want to do that, but there's nothing you could do about it. You have to do it if you use this filler. So basically, it's an automatic sidestep for when you do the delayed low hit as that filler. So it's kind of weird, but that's the combo I usually do. Yeah, of course, sidestep 2. Sidestep 2 is good for her wall game. It's something that you should always keep in mind. It definitely gains value as a move when the wall is nearby. Let's see here. What did I miss? Sidestep 1 plus 2. Whatever. Yeah, I think that basically covers the moves that have unique, important uses at the wall. They gain value at the wall. 3 plus 4 is really the main one. Down 1 plus 2, also a really good one. What else? Oh yeah, sidestep 2 also gains value big time, that's for sure. And you know, there are other moves that I think gain a little bit of value, but these are your basic wall splatting tools. This one allowing you to bring in your partner is really important. Sidestep 2 to set up, to bait out attacks off of safe shit. Down forward 1 or whatever into sidestep 2 for a wall splat. Her counter, punch counter leading to a wall splat, very important. And just generally speaking, the use of her moves that are short range, like 1 plus 2 and down 1 plus 2, these can be more usable at the wall because the opponent cannot backdash. I pretty much think I covered everything. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about this character. I think she's very unique. I think she's got a bad reputation. I think a lot of people don't use her because they think that she's a newbie or scrub character. And I think that's a terrible misconception, because though online has given her that reputation because there's a bunch of shitheads that are going to hell for doing back threes and can-cans all day, offline she's actually a very respectable character because, you know, her combos are extremely difficult, her bread and butters are extremely advanced, and she has a lot of risk involved. And because of the lack of her standing jab to open up offense, it really requires an advanced player to succeed with her offline. So it's really unfortunate that she has such a bad misconception. And, you know, everyone thinks that she's so scrubby, but I really think that she's a really cool character. I think that more people should use her. I think that she's just overall pretty cool. Cool design. And is not really that useless in this game. In previous games, she's been quite shitty. But in this game, you know, especially if you pair her with someone good, like even Dragunov or Lars, or as I mentioned, Nina, or there are other characters that you can pair her with that really is not that bad. Pretty effective team. She does a lot of damage and, you know, not terrible. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. I noticed that AZYG for Life subscribed during the tutorial. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. I'm going to basically have a cigarette and look at some flowers now. So you guys chomp on some commercials while I go get a snack and take a breather. Yeah, basically, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back in a few minutes.